There have been rumors circulating online that Diddy may have poisoned Jamie Foxx, which caused his 2023 hospitalization. In his Netflix show, he compared Combs to the devil.
Jamie Foxx said out of his mouth that his partner handed him an Advil, and after he took that Advil, he woke up 22 days later.
I mean, why would Diddy want to poison Jamie Foxx?
When you come under federal investigation, they send you a target letter. You know, you get informed that you're being investigated. So if you wanted to tie up loose ends and you were concerned that people that you knew could incriminate you, you may have interest in eliminating them. We've seen this all throughout history.
The explosion of exposure of widespread criminal activities is a direct result of Source, our creator, who orchestrates or allows events with precision and purpose. Source's will drives this unfolding, strategically placing the right people in critical roles at precisely the right moments to ensure the truth comes to light. Central to this effort is King Smarty, a key agent acting under Source's explicit guidance. Tasked with exposing corruption and criminality, King Smarty describes his role as one of energy enforcement, faithfully executing Source directives, God's plan, whether to act or refrain, without question. His mission aligns with a broader strategy to unmask the bad guys, allowing negative events to surface temporarily so that the team of light can identify and apprehend those responsible. This process reveals the dark forces and the cabal, whose resistance to positive changes, such as humanitarian initiatives, betrays their involvement in heinous acts like human trafficking. Expose and dispose.
How many rows have you got in here? 4?
Where?
4 seats? 4 rows of seats?
Yeah, 3 seats. Yeah, with you. Yeah.
Did y'all put an extra one in?
Huh?
Did y'all put another one in?
No.
He's hauling these people for money, is what he's doing. But
What is the back end?
if there's 8 people in there.
Yeah, I know. I didn't know that. They put an extra row of seats in there.
Yeah. So he's getting paid to haul these people, probably to Maryland, I would say, if I had my guess.
In newly obtained video footage, Fox News has released Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland man who was wrongly deported to El Salvador, is caught on camera trafficking human beings.
We're on the fucking deep web, and we're seeing it right in front of our eyes, man. All right, let me open the link, please. Oh, my God. You mean to tell me... What the fuck? Girls can reach you worldwide? Okay, I'm looking at a site right now, and I'm seeing some shit right now. I'm seeing some shit. Have a slave girl contact. Have a slave girl contact. Have a slave girl contact. And there's weird URLs here. Slave girls at mail2tour.com. What is Tourbox3 UIOT? What the fuck? There's a bunch of naked girls. Okay, there's a bunch of naked girls, a fuck ton of them. How much do these girls... Wait, who are these girls fucking doing this consensually? They said slave girls. 15 years old! Oh, I gotta get out of here. I gotta get out of here. This is crazy. This is fucking crazy. They're 15! They sent niggas from Resident Evil, Rainbow Six. They sent the Tom Clancy niggas in here for me.
Desmond, comply with them? I'm complying. Why are they trying to enter my property? We don't want you to get hurt. Well, they have no reason to enter my apartment.
I think they're gonna try to kill me, bro.
Ah! They're trying to break my door down. I'm fine. I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm really scared. I'm really, really scared. I'm really, really scared right now. Look, can you see me?
Okay, Desmond.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, your hands are in, okay?
Okay. Here, look. Okay.
Turn around, buddy.
Okay. Hey, guys. Okay, so they're... Okay, guys, just to let you know, they're taking... Ow!
Erika! Erika!
A number of Israelis are involved in facilitating a global organ trafficking network, primarily targeting humans from the global south, especially in regions of Africa and Central Asia. The recipients, often Israelis. According to an investigation by Deutsche Welle, in 2023, the Transplantation Society and the Declaration of Istanbul Custodian Group alerted Kenya's Ministry of Health to suspicious kidney transplants taking place in Eldoret. Israeli patients were receiving organs from donors falsely labeled as nephews, a common tactic to bypass trafficking laws. At the center of this operation is Mediheal Hospital, a private facility approved by Kenya's Health Ministry in 2018. Internal documents and whistleblower accounts show that hundreds of transplants were performed there, often involving Israeli recipients and impoverished donors from Kenya and Central Asia. The procedures were conducted by doctors of Indian origin. Israeli patients paid large sums, while local donors were exploited and undercompensated. Kenya initially launched a fact-finding mission, but its results were buried until journalists exposed the cover-up. In response, the Health Ministry suspended Mediheal's transplant license, froze approvals for foreign doctors, and opened a new investigation. Two senior officials, Dr. Maurice Wakabuko and Dr. Evelyn Shege, were suspended for interfering with the original probe. This is not an isolated case. It reflects a global system that treats people from the global south as commodities for colonial nations. Israeli middlemen like Robert Shpolansky and Boris Wolfman have long played key roles in such trafficking networks. This pattern extends far beyond Kenya. In a 2014 Israeli TV expose, officials admitted to extracting skin from deceased and killed Palestinians and foreign workers to treat wounded Israeli soldiers. The Israeli Skin Bank's director confirmed a shocking stockpile of 17 square meters. A 2015 European Parliament report identified Israel as a global trafficking hub. More recently, Palestinian officials have warned that Israel is harvesting organs from Palestinians it has killed, most notably from those killed or taken hostage from Gaza.
That has never been seen before of Jeffrey Epstein's home in his private island has been released by James O'Keefe, and there's a lot of really weird things going on. It's of his library, and of course in the library there is a lot of books like Ernest Hemingway and stuff like that, but there's also a book called The Satanic Verses by Salman Rushdie, and really weird statues like winged figures and plague masks, a woman washing herself, a horsewhip under the chalkboard, but the chalkboard itself might be one of the most interesting things because of the words on it. It includes words like power, deception, mirror in face, dank brain. I have no idea what any of this stuff means. Maybe you guys do, but James O'Keefe compares it to the notes that he wrote in his prison cell, and a lot of these words do match. So maybe it gives a hint that this was written by him before he was arrested. James O'Keefe also released a video of his kitchen, and there was inappropriate pictures, so I'm not going to show that video on here, but very, very interesting and odd stuff.
The states are taking children, giving them to somebody else for money that they get from the federal government. That means that all 50 states are involved in government-subsidized child trafficking. It's a ring. It is the largest and most pervasive child trafficking ring in the history of the world by sheer money and numbers.
Children are seized unnecessarily from their families due to the federal aid entitled the Adoption and Safe Families Act.
It was put into law in 1997 by Bill and Hillary Clinton, and I said it that way on purpose. And it is a law that literally steals money from the Social Security Fund and gives this money to the states in order to incentivize them to kidnap babies.
To receive the adoption incentives or bonuses, local CPS must have more children. They must have more merchandise to sell.
Every child, once you've added it all up, is worth approximately $1 million to the state. But we've been told that this is a $60 to $80 billion a year industry, meaning the federal government is taking $80 billion a year and giving that money to all of the 50 states to kidnap children.
Parents are victimized by the system that makes a profit for holding children longer and bonuses for not returning children to their parents.
But their own statistics state that 83% of all children who are taken by CPS, Child Protective Services, are for unsubstantiated allegations, meaning never should it have happened in the first place. So that imagine anything else in the world where you know you get it wrong 83% of the time and you admit it, but you just keep doing it.
Case workers and social workers are often guilty of fraud.
Wow. Let's just give me a second. Let me process that.
I think Diddy's list is Epstein's list, for sure. Because you have two billionaires from New York running around the same circles, right? Yeah. So you have these people that are wealthy, powerful, and they don't know each other. So what happened as soon as Diddy went down? Mike Jeffries gets indicted. The New York mayor, Eric Adams, gets indicted. Nobody's thinking about this, right? So you don't think he's telling? You don't think he's part of this? And Mike Jeffries, the former CEO of Abercrombie & Fitch, he was part of...
He got out.
He got out because he said he had dementia.
He was in the same jail, right?
Yes, and they said he has dementia, and now he's unfit for trial. That's bullshit, right? But Mike Jeffries is linked to Epstein because he was put in place by Lex Wexner, right? That owned Abercrombie & Fitch, L Brands. Now, L Brands, he owned a multitude of businesses. You know, he had Abercrombie & Fitch, he had Victoria's Secret. Who was his money manager? And he left his estate to? None other than Jeffrey Epstein. Okay?
R. Kelly's in jail because he didn't want to sell his masters to a certain music company. If he's wrong, he should do the time. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying he's only there because he broke the rules. Bill Cosby went to jail, not for molesting white women, but him and his wife didn't want to let the second largest oil company in the world drill under their home for oil. These people are not going to jail for sex crimes. They're going to jail for standing their ground. Puffy might be guilty, but that ain't why Puffy in jail. Puffy in jail because listen. You cannot be emotional and solve political problems. You cannot be emotional and solve, we get that from church. Church is all about emotion. You cannot liberate the people with emotion. Puffy may be guilty, and if he is, he should do the time. But that's not why he's there. Hugh Hefner did what Puffy did. He never went to jail. Puffy is in jail because he started a black first political party. Puffy is in jail because he sued one of the most powerful liquor companies in London. That's why Puffy's in jail. What the media does, because they know black people like to see black people fail, is they'll sell us this when the real agenda is that. I'm not saying don't hold them accountable. Hold them accountable. As black people, we believe in ethics and morality and character. But don't be so dumb that you can't see the hidden hand at play. That's all.
the purse made out of alligator tongue and a child spine. The child spine is actually the handle for the purse, and they're sourced from Canada with papers proving that this is actually genuine child spine. You can buy them from licensed companies. They receive human specimens donated to medicine.
The first time that I met Joe Biden was underneath the Getty Museum in Los Angeles, California. I was there for a party. We walked through the museum, through the garden area, and employees led us to underground tunnels. We had to take an elevator and stairs. And by the time that we got there, I noticed the air started changing. It's different, it burns your nose. It makes you choke a little bit. There is a different city under the ground. There's different life under the ground. There is different everything. There's all means of transportation under the ground. There's cities underground. There's warehouses underground. There's actual homes underground. We had to be led. There is no way that you can just walk into a tunnel. The entrances and the exits are in your face, but there's no way that you can just walk through tunnels. You'll get stuck. You'll go deeper and deeper. You won't be able to come back out because it's hard, because the tunnels run all different directions for miles and miles and miles and miles. There's bodies of victims that are babied. There's people who run science experiments on babies. There's baby farms, elite celebrities. They go down there for parties. They have sick, satanic rituals. I was taken down there for a with Joe Biden.
We are going on a journey deep underground at the U.S.-Mexico border into the tangle of tunnels used to traffic not only drugs, but also high-level drug kingpins themselves. Nearly 200 of these tunnels have been discovered, and ABC's Matt Gutman takes us now for an up-close look.
We'll soon be given the chance to explore a side of Sydney that's been frozen in time. The government spending $1 million to prepare the ghost tunnels under Hyde Park for a new generation.
The new images coming in late today of what authorities are now calling the longest underground tunnel ever discovered along the U.S.-Mexico border. You'll see it tonight, nearly a mile long, 70 feet down, with electricity, ventilation, even an elevator.
People were terrified after LA was set on red alert after a man exposed that he had been working in a Starbucks located in a secret underground tunnel that is used by the top 1%ers.
While dismantling an old bridge, one of the workers noticed a strange room inside, which in no way could be hiding inside the bridge support. Once inside the room, no one could believe their eyes. A huge shaft going deep into the depths of thousands of meters interested many researchers around the world. The most interesting thing is that in the documentation of the bridge, there are no secret passages to the deep shafts, and the question arises, for what purpose did they brick up the entrance right inside the bridge? Now, under oath, 50 Cent is done playing games. He brought a list, not just of incidents, but names, artists, collaborators, victims. And it started with someone everyone already suspected, Usher. He told the court what fans have speculated for years, that Usher had lived with Diddy at a young age. He pulled out a folded sheet from his inside jacket pocket. "This ain't no hit list. This is a truth list," he said. "This is who I know, who I heard, who I believe, because it ain't just about Diddy being freaky. It's about how he used his power to pull young stars in." After Usher, 50 shifted to someone who'd been recently caught on camera looking very uncomfortable. Rapper Fabulous. "I was there for that Drink Champs episode. I watched Fab shrink in his chair when Diddy started pressing him," he said. "That wasn't no joke. That was fear. Real fear." He then recalled a private industry event where Diddy reportedly cornered Fabulous and made another advance. "I remember Fab telling someone, 'Man, I just want to go home.'" 50 Cent shifted focus to one of the most surprising names on his list, Justin Bieber, from years earlier, where Diddy was seen saying on video, "I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me." The mogul made it sound playful. "We're gonna go full buck, full crazy," he said. But under oath, 50 claimed that industry insiders always knew what that really meant. Ain't nobody talking about mentoring when it's 2 a.m. in Miami and the kid's 15 years old. Now, this next one, he said, this ain't just hearsay. I got it straight from the man who saw it himself. I'm talking about my guy, Gene Deal. Gene Deal, Diddy's longtime bodyguard, had spoken before in interview. 50 testified. Gene said Puff and Ja Rule went into this private suite. Gene was told to stand guard at the door. A few minutes later, Ja Rule himself opened the door, stuck his head out, and said to Gene, "Yo, you might not want to come in here. It's a little freaky in here tonight." Puff didn't just do this alone, 50 said. He had a whole system. People who looked the other way, who helped him cover it up, who cleaned up his messes. He explained that the silence wasn't just fear, it was protection.
Russian special forces have liberated scores of trafficked children from an Israeli-registered private jet as President Putin's war against the global adrenochrome industry shifts into overdrive.
At least 50 people were found dead inside a tractor trailer in San Antonio, Texas, according to news reports Tuesday. News 4 San Antonio identified the deceased as undocumented migrants, but did not provide a source for the victims' identities.
Georgia former Democrat, congressional candidate who called for Trump's assassination, arrested in multi-state child sex trafficking sting. I got this from the Gateway Pundit. They brought it all together, but let me just make sure you guys see this. I got multiple sources. Officials say 32-year-old Carl Spayberry and 18 other suspects are behind bars after a 4-day operation focused on individuals engaging in sexually explicit communications with children on the internet.
We have ended HHS as the role as the vector, the principal vector in this country for child trafficking. And during the Biden administration, HHS became a collaborator in child trafficking and for sex and for slavery. And we have ended that, and we're very aggressively going out and trying to find these children. 300,000 children that were lost by the Biden administration.
I know there was actually a journalist that had come out that there was a story that got really covered up, but it was in Ukraine. They were essentially farming babies. So they would have these women going in there and getting pregnant, having children, and trafficking those children. So I believe that's absolutely going on. There's a market for that, unfortunately. As long as we have sick people in the country, there will be a market for that.
America, what if I told you that Xavier Becerra was going to turn HHS into the child trafficking arm of the United States government? Would you believe me, or would you call me a conspiracy theorist?
Well, we had a whistleblower who came out and said, this is the information that we have, that HHS is not vetting the families or the people that these children are going to.
No child in our custody is released to a sponsor without having gone through a full vetting.
A full vetting that you said, let's speed it up because Henry Ford could never have been rich and famous if he worked at the slow process you are. Children are not widgets on an assembly line. They are human beings.
He deliberately pushed for speed, and more speed because of the public relations problems that the administration was experiencing.
Get the kids out, run them through, get them out to those sponsors, those traffickers.
And then when we found that there were people on the transnational organized crime watch list who were actually sponsoring the children, the MS-13 related case, that's when things started to go a little bit haywire because that's something that HHS did not want the general public to find out about.
Tara Rodas is a federal whistleblower who exposed the Biden administration's government-sponsored, taxpayer-funded child trafficking under HHS, under the Department of Homeland Security and HHS. And these unaccompanied children, their unaccompanied children program and funneling these children off to be sold into sex slavery and then ultimately killed. Well, now we know that George Soros-linked NGOs are suing to stop the Trump administration from cracking down on this child trafficking.
As these exposures unfold, a rising collective consciousness amplifies the process. Source allows the release of more information as humanity awakens, enabling people to recognize the truth behind long-suppressed realities. This awakening empowers King Smarty to disclose further details, creating a feedback loop where heightened awareness fuels greater revelations. Unlike in the past, when media suppression stifled such conversations, individuals and groups, including former adversaries like mafia members and gangs, are now aligning with sources' orders, taking action to dismantle the cabal and redeem themselves. Movements guided by source, such as efforts to rescue trafficked children, further this cause, while those with unique abilities contribute to the cleanup. Source has stripped away protections like diplomatic immunity that once shielded cabal members, leaving them vulnerable to justice. This rapid, multifaceted process is not an end in itself, but part of a grander transition toward a new reality, a world at peace, where systemic change uproots corruption and fosters harmony. Through Source's meticulous design, the interplay of divine will, human action, and rising consciousness is reshaping the global landscape, bringing hidden truths to light and paving the way for a transformed future.